Hey, what's already? Welcome back to News Toast. And you know what? Is this generation just cooked by this point? I mean, it really has been crazy pretty much since day one. And don't get me wrong, I still think there's a ton of great games from this generation that are worth playing. And we will continue to talk about those on the channel. But there's also been a lot of craziness along the way. I mean, I can go on a long tangent about longer than usual development times, the increased focus on live service titles, and also the outrageous AAA budgets, which I do kind of feel like plays a small part in today's news. But yes, if you haven't already heard, unfortunately, prices are going up yet again, but this time for Xbox consoles, which is actually the second time this year. And I have a lot to say about this, so buckle up, and we're going to get into all of that today. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go and get right into things, though, starting off with a PlayStation 5 version of Bloodborne, or apparently their lack of. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors and speculation, pretty much all generation long, that we will eventually get a remaster or some kind of 60 FPS update, because quite frankly, it needs it. I mean, this game is far too good to be stuck at 30 frames per second, but unfortunately, the latest leak doused the fire, if you will. This comes from the often leaky Jeff Grubb, as he claimed that he recently checked in on the state of Bloodborne, and he found out nothing at all is happening with it. So, I mean, I guess there you go. Just rip the Band-Aid right off, and admittedly, I am extremely disappointed by this news. I mean, for whatever reason, Sony went back and remastered games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Until Dawn out of all games, and then, of course, The Last of Us for like the 15th time. I mean, Sony loves that game, but here we are, and the one game that truly needs an update seems to be estranged. I mean, all the other games that I just mentioned, did they really need any kind of remake or remaster? That's debatable, to say the least. Now, we also got an update from Limited Run Games regarding Trails in the Sky First Chapter, which just released today. Now, of course, you can get a physical copy elsewhere. You don't have to get it with Limited Run Games, but they did have a few exclusive options on their website, but apparently, it's not going to be delivered on time. Yeah, Limited Run Games already has a pretty bad reputation as is, and this is certainly not going to help with that, because check their recent statement out. They said, "We are reaching out today with an update regarding Trails in the Sky First Chapter Steelbook and Bracer Edition game pre-orders. We sincerely regret that due to unexpected manufacturing delays, both the Steelbook and Bracer Editions will be shipping out later than the initially planned date of September 19th of 2025. We apologize for this inconvenience and appreciate your understanding." Now, here's the thing for me. If the delay is out of their control, then okay, so be it. But my problem with this entire response is how they handled it. I mean, they had to have known about this delay before today, yet they waited until last minute to notify very eager Legend of Hero fans. And keep in mind that these fans could have bought the game elsewhere, like I said before, but they decided to pre-order this more expensive item from Limited Run Games, probably because they're huge fans of the original PSP title and are very excited to play the remake. Instead, they're going to have to wait beyond the official launch, and they're only now finding out about that. I mean, I've ordered multiple games from Limited Run Games, and I've had no issues with them personally. Thankfully, I bought this game elsewhere, but this is now the second time this year that they've done something that comes off, to me, as a bit unprofessional and definitely shady. Earlier this year, we talked about this before, where they also tried to hide the fact that the Legacy of Kain remasters wasn't exclusive to their storefront, and they actually tried to push people to buy their overpriced editions because the standard edition sold out within like the first day, which is not normal for how they typically sell games. All right, so let's just go and get into the big story of the day, because yes, the Xbox is going up in price again for the second time this year and the third time since 2022. I guess they saw Sony raise prices last month and they just said, no way, we need to one-up them. Let's go even higher because that's what the fans want. Yeah, let's just check these prices out. So this infographic was posted by IGN, and you can see that the Xbox Series S has gone up by $20, the Xbox Series X has gone up by another $50, and the 2TB Xbox Series X Galaxy Edition has gone up by a whopping $70, making it an $800 console. I mean, that's absolutely crazy to say out loud. I mean, little did we know that the PS5 Pro that everybody hated on just last year because of its crazy high price at the time would actually end up being cheaper than the Xbox Series X Galaxy Edition. Even more so is that the Xbox Series X has now increased by $150 since the beginning of this generation, and you may ask why. The thing is, though, is that I don't think the answer is as simple as pointing to just one single thing. I believe that this is for a myriad of different reasons, though some reasons are obviously going to outweigh others. Now, they are citing a change in the macroeconomic environment, which, if you don't know what that means, that points to various different things, including inflation, interest rates, exchange rates, a rise in manufacturing costs, and of course, trade relationships as well, which of course has been the hot topic of 2025. The T word, the tariffs. Tariffs have gone up, they've gone down, and it's just a very fluid situation all around. Now, Xbox does manufacture a lot of their consoles in China specifically, which definitely is one of the more volatile situations in terms of tariffs and negotiations and all that type of stuff. So all of these different things can play a part in what's happening with these prices. And I'm also going to point to another part of the business that a lot of people oftentimes ignore, and that's the rise in AAA game budgets. I've said it time and time again on this channel, but budgets have ballooned to an outrageous degree this generation. It is not sustainable. And I'm pointing that out specifically because, if you remember right, Xbox also tried to raise game prices just earlier this year. They originally wanted to move to $80 AAA games until they eventually backtracked because more than likely nobody was actually pre-ordering The Outer Worlds 2, which was their first game, at $80. However, as I said back then, that was not a situation of tariffs. Keep in mind that most of their games are sold digitally, so that is not an issue for their software. And the same can be said regarding the multiple price hikes for Xbox Game Pass. So this is where those other macroeconomic conditions comes in, and I'm also going to say just bad management for AAA games this generation. They really need to get the development time under control for their games. They shouldn't take 6, 7, 8 years to develop. I'm sorry, but that Perfect Dark was canceled. I was looking forward to that game as well, as I am a fan of the original Perfect Dark, but it shouldn't have taken as long as it did to be developed, and that was one of the main reasons it probably got canceled. But whatever the case may be, as a consumer and as a fan of gaming, it's honestly frustrating to see this generation play out in this way. Again, it's the third time since 2022 that the price for the Xbox Series has gone up, and that is unheard of for consoles. I mean, typically by this point in the generation, console prices have gone down, allowing them to be more affordable for people that don't want to jump in at the beginning of the generation part because of their prices. But instead, this generation, because it's just been so bizarre, technically, if you bought the Xbox Series or the PlayStation 5 when they first launched back in 2020, you would have actually gotten them at their best prices. Little did we know it would never have been better, and all of this gets even more alarming when you start to think about next generation. I mean, right now, the Xbox Series X will be priced at $650 for the disc model. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 5 disc model is $550, so how much is the next Xbox and the PlayStation 6 going to cost? I mean, are we talking about a $700+ console? I mean, that doesn't seem to be an outlandish prediction by this point because we're already seeing it from the PlayStation 5 Pro, which right now costs $750. I mean, for that matter, technically, the PlayStation 6 and the next Xbox could cost even more than the PS5 Pro. That also doesn't seem outlandish, and that's crazy to think about when you talk about console gaming. I mean, console gaming has always been the cheap alternative to PC gaming. But yeah, here we are, and I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. I mean, you can buy a gaming PC, you can upgrade it over time, and hey, you also don't have to subscribe to a service just to play multiplayer. Now, personally, I prefer to play on consoles myself, but I also understand why so many people are migrating over to PC gaming by this point. And I mean, if these prices keep going up, yeah, that's probably going to increase even more next generation. I mean, Xbox and Sony, they are legitimately pricing consumers out of the console market. And the thing about Xbox specifically is that their consoles, even at the cheaper prices, weren't exactly flying off shelves. You know, they have reported a decline in their hardware multiple times already, and yet here we are. And that situation is probably going to get even worse at these higher prices. I mean, if customers weren't buying the Xbox Series X at $600, well, then they're probably not going to buy them at $650 either. And the thing about the console business is that consoles are just kind of the gateway for the real money, which is software. So it's not unheard of to sell a console at a loss just because these companies want to get people in their ecosystem. That way they'll buy their games and to buy their subscriptions, which is really where the real money is made. That's always how it's worked. So, you know, these price hikes, it's going to impact that growth as well. This really is a messy situation that will have ramifications for the hobby that so many of us love. And that's where my frustration lies. I mean, I already have an Xbox and a PlayStation 5, so I'm pretty set. But I'd also like to see console gaming be in a healthy state and for it to be easily accessible and to continue to grow. But we're kind of moving beyond that point. I think at this rate, Xbox and Sony very well might try to normalize console plans next generation, similar to how phone plans works. You know, most people don't actually buy their phones outright, but rather they pay for them monthly. Now, Xbox and Sony has loosely tried to experiment with that in the past, but I think they might really try to push for that next generation because, you know, a $700, $800 console, that's going to be a hard sell for a lot of people. I mean, that's just a thought of what they could possibly do, but what do you think about this situation? How do you feel about the price increase for Xbox and just for gaming as a whole? Everything is going up in price, whether that be subscriptions, whether it be games, or in this case, for consoles. Let me hear it in the comments below. Anyways, though, that's going to be this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.